Hi guys, welcome back from the ad break. So now we are on our last segment for the show. We are actually going to look at two more questions that involve simultaneous equations. I promise you, these ones will look a bit complex, but I'm gonna try by all means to go through them as slow as possible and as easy as possible for you to understand them. So please do pay attention. Whatever that I say and I write, try to also write it down so that you can understand at a later stage when you're referring to your notes, right? But let's look at them. Both the questions are still adapted from the Siyavula platform. So, now this says a group of friends is buying lunch, right? So there's a number of us and we want to buy some lunch. Now, here are some facts about their lunch. They did not tell us how many people are there. They just told us that it's a certain number of people. So, because I don't want to be confusing you, I'm just going to let the pizza be P and I'm just going to let the burger be B, right? So I'm just going to use P and B so that at the end it's easier for us to see what we are talking about. Now, a pizza costs 7 Rand more than a burger, right? So it means if a burger is 20 rands, then a pizza will be 7 rands plus the 20 rands, right? The group buys a total of 8 pizzas and 2 burgers. The total cost is then 326 rand. We need to find the price of a pizza and of a burger. So, remember I said we're going to let this be P, we're going to let this be just B, right? That means the first statement, a pizza costs 7 Rand more than a burger. It means that the pizza will be equals to a burger plus the 7 Rand. Right? So that's what we are actually being told here, that if I want to buy a pizza, I must add 7 Rand to the price of the burger. So that becomes P is equals to B plus the 7. Now, what else do I know? I know that they bought 8 pizzas and 2 burgers for a total of that. So it means 8P plus the 2B will then give me a total of 326 Rand. So they spent a total of 326 Rand, right? So you can already see that one variable is the subject of the formula here. So I can just quickly use what? Use the substitution method, right? I'll just say use sub method, substitution method. Now, using the substitution method, wherever I see P, I'm going to substitute the B plus the 7. So this will be 8 into B plus 7 plus 2B, and this will be equals to 326, right? 326, not 66. So 326. And then you can now see that I only have the burger as part of my question. Then I want to solve for B. At a later stage, I will substitute it in order to get what P is, right? So to do that, this will then be 8B plus the 8 multiplied by the 7 there, which will then give me, let me quickly just verify that, 8 times 7 will give me 56, yes. So this will be 56, then plus the 2B is equals to the 326, right? And then I add my like terms. This will give me 10B is equals to 326. Why am I writing 6 again? 326 minus the 56, right? And lastly, I will have 10B as being equals to, if I minus, if I minus 56 from 326, it will then give me 270. But just for us to be sure on what we are doing, I will just press it quickly for you. Minus 56, it will be 270, yes. And then to solve for B, I will substitute both sides by 10. So I will have B is equals to 27, right? So 270 divided by 10 is definitely equals to 27. So that means the cost of a burger will then be the 27 rand. But because we know that the pizza costs 7 rand more than that, we will then need to add 7 rand to that in order to make sure that we get the prices correct. So I'm just gonna go here quickly. So it means the pizza will be equals to 27 rand plus the 7 rand, which will be equals to 34 rands. Now, I just want us to verify whether what we've done so far is correct. By doing what? By substituting it back here, right? So that I can get the 326 that they spent. So that means I will then say my pizza, they bought 8 of them, and that is multiplied by the 34 rand for each, plus they bought 2 burgers, which go for 27 rand, and this will give me 326 rand. So you can see it means we did the right thing there. Now, another question as well says 2 jets are flying towards each other from airports that are 1,200 kilometers apart. One jet is flying at that particular speed, and the other one is flying at that particular speed. If they took off at the same time, now the very most important thing here is that they took off at the same time. How long will then it take? So how long, we already know they want us to find the time for them to pass each other. So when they pass each other, it means that the distance that they would have traveled will be the same for both of them. That's how we can get this, right? So the distance that each jet travels, because remember they are 1,200 kilometers apart. This one here, the distance that it is going to travel and the distance that this one is going to travel, they need to be equal in order for these things to then meet at a certain point, right? That's what we are looking at. Not the time, because remember they traveling at different speeds. So we couldn't talk about the time being the same. No, the distance must be the same. And remember, distance is given by speed multiplied by time. Remember when you did your rate in the earlier grades, this is where we are going to use that. So it means that for jet 1, I will say the distance is equals to the speed multiplied by the time, and the speed and the time. So I know that the speed of jet number 1, where is it again, is 250. I will use that one. So this is 250 multiplied by time, right? And then for jet 2, I will have D is equals to, again, speed multiplied by time. So that becomes 350 multiplied by the time, right? But what do I know? I know that D1 plus D2, right? Let me call this D1, that D2. They must give me 1,200, right? So that's what I know. So in simple terms, I will then quickly say D1 is equals to, remember, 250 multiplied by T, and D2 is equals to, 350 multiplied by T. If I add these two, I must get 1,200. So I will say D1 plus D2 is equals to 1,200. D1 was 250 T plus D2 was 350 T, and this is equals to 1,200. Now, this is just basic algebra, right? I must take out a common factor on one side, which is the left-hand side, and that will be T into 250 plus the 350. By the way, you can just do this also by adding the two numbers, 250 plus 350, which is 600, right? So this will be T into the 600 is equals to 1,200. And then lastly, I will know that my T will be equals to 2, right? Now remember that the speed here was in terms of kilometer per hour. So that means the how long part, although they did not represent it to say what unit must we use, this must then be in hours. Because you can't say kilometer per hour, but then convert it again and say now it's minutes or it's seconds. No, it will still be hours. So it means my conclusion will then be, therefore, T will be equals to 2 hours. This will be the time that it takes for both of them to actually pass each other, right, at a certain distance. Now, guys, to quickly summarize everything that we've looked at thus far, always make sure that you use the given information to write down the equation or the two equations. Now, I normally see people ignoring some things that we give them on the statement and they think they are not important. Please understand me. We will never give you a statement that is just useless for you to use. No, everything we write there needs to be used one way or the other. So make sure that you break down everything that is on that statement and make sure you give it either a variable or you make it an expression depending on what it is. So I've been using X and Y, and then I said, okay, now I'm talking about a pizza and a burger, let me just use P and B. So you can also do the same. The other thing is identify the type of equation. Remember, there is linear, right? And there is also quadratic. That's the one that we've been looking at the most. If it's linear, you can always use the elimination method. If it's quadratic, you can use either elimination. You can only use substitution, I mean. And then you can then look at it from there. Lastly, simplify the terms and then solve what they want you to solve. So guys, that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this. I know that at times word problems are a bit of a difficult thing to do because of all these things that they throw in there, but I promise you, as soon as you use a statement, just scratch it out so that it's not a lot and you know that I've used this. You go to the next statement, you use it, you scratch it out, and then you can work out what you want to do. Guys, I hope you had so much fun because I also did have fun doing this, and you saw you always need to go back to your calculator just to verify your answers. From me to you, the maths doctor, remember, mathematics is food for the soul. If you do it right, it will nourish your body. Until next time.